and then I'll still piece it out. It's been doing pretty good on YouTube with the cutting the short videos. They're not doing bad at all. The one I did with the first one I did with the pixelation has already got 100 views. It's freaking scamming the algorithm. Yeah, we
And
got
they're not
some.
taking it down. I think we've got the moral high ground there.
Yeah, we got them. We got the high ground. Don't try it,
Kid Rock,
Anakin.
Budweiser.
Kid Rock's angry, bro. He's
It's,
mad. He shot a bunch of cans of Budweiser. He's super angry about it. And I found some really interesting shit with like one of his first big singles. We're gonna have to go through it, listen to the lyrics a little bit. I thought it was interesting where he ended up after talking the type of shit that he was talking. Now he got shooting Budweiser cans, and I'm still blaming it on society trying to dismantle cis white psyche.
and advertising is just fucking stupid.
Yeah, that's true.
Advertising is absolutely stupid. If how they're advertising a product makes it different whether you want it or need it or not, we obviously live in a society that's way too decadent
Oh yeah, it's
to
horrible.
have too many choices. Like, okay, I don't like the way you're trying to get other people to buy it. Fuck it, I don't want it anymore. You never needed it. You could have totally lived your life without it.
But
It
you
was
gotta
always
have
a
to.
waste.
But that's what he's always been saying. You know, people that's what they say. If you don't like it, don't buy it. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Now it's like, oh, destroy it, and everybody who agrees with me, you destroy it too. They're just super angry.
Nobody's sincere.
Never. That's out the window. Okay, post that link. Got the link posted on Twitter just in case anybody wants to stop by and listen. Wait, did that work? Where'd it go? Oh no. Okay. Okay, so yeah, we got 3 minutes. And Surreal's gonna hop on. He said he's gonna hop on a little bit later. Doobie's gonna come by a little later, so it's just us two to start it off. Where's my tweet? They not letting me
All
do
right, I'll
it.
try to be engaged. The way that they're consoling each other is beautiful.
Yeah, I just thought
It's
that was
such a
pretty
human
funny.
moment.
Crying over
It's
over beer advertisements.
consoling each other is just
Okay, I got that. And where do I have my? Okay, I got my Dalai Lama video up. So I guess so. Should we start with Budweiser or the Dalai Lama? Which one? Which one are we gonna go
you
with?
know what? Just blow my mind right out of the gate.
Dalai Lama.
Let's just go in. Let's
Okay.
just hit the ground running.
All right. Let's get it cracking. All right. So 6:43. We already recording. So we just gotta wait for them to. I wonder if I can do it early. If I can just run it. No, I don't think so. Yeah, it says. Oh wait, live streaming. And I love how they give you the option to make it private right after the stream is done. Let's see. Okay, 6:44. We got 1 minute. Let's see if they'll let us start streaming. 'Cause I copied that, right? Did all of that. Yep, that's right. Stream keys right. All right, we'll see. 1 more minute. Just watching this thing. Okay. Where you at? There we go. It should stream. Oh, not streaming yet. Hmm. That's weird. It should be already going. Feed. It's crazy. All right. Yeah, it just says. Let me check this info one more time. Make sure my stream key is correct. That's there. Stream key. Let me copy this again. Apply. Okay. Change the tab and start streaming. There it is. Okay, I think we're live. I think we might be live. Let me double check. Fill up my speed. Okay, well, it says we're streaming. We should be live, but either way I'm recording. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go about the show like we normally do. And yeah, it's us. It's the Cult of Dangerous Gentlemen, and we are here. And we're going to get right into it. I was going to talk a little bit about Dylan Mulvaney, who has only been a woman for 1 year and some change, and is already smashing glass ceilings all over the place. Everybody's getting destroyed. Women everywhere are getting bullied and kicked in the balls. And a lot of people aren't happy about it. But before we get to that, I happened to stumble across something that my dear brother here hasn't gotten wind of yet. And I just wanted to talk about it real quick. I just wanted to see how he felt about it. So we got the Dalai Lama, who is all over the news right now at the moment. A lot's going on with the Dalai Lama. So we just going to hop right into it. You can probably see the headline right there. Dalai Lama inappropriately tongue kisses boy. So I'll just let you see this fresh. You tell me what you think. You know, innocent enough, right? Not too terrible. And then we go here.
And suck my tongue.
So I'll give him the early part. Right? There's a lot of different cultures and different ways that people interact with each other. So maybe in your country or in your traditions, it's not weird to kiss a child that you're not related to on the lips. Maybe that's not weird. So this first part here could possibly not be weird. It's a little strange. You can see the boy wasn't really feeling it. He's like pulling away a little bit. But I'd like to know how the lovers and followers of the Dalai Lama, the people who really think that this person was chosen from childhood to be the reincarnation of a divine spirit to live here on the planet as human. What do they think about this second part right here? Like, I just want to know. Is it some weird cultural thing that I'm missing?
And suck my tongue.
You heard that properly. He told the kid to suck his tongue. This is an 87-year-old man instructing a child who he's not related to suck his tongue after just kissing him on the lips.
Why
Seems like
can't
he's in
they?
character.
Why
Don't
can't
all
they just teach us great
prophets
truths?
normally rape children? It seems
Yeah,
like
why
he's in
did-
character?
Why do all of the people that teach us great truths have to diddle kids? Why does this just part and parcel? Hey, we're gonna give you some ethereal, deep, hidden spiritual knowledge, but we need to do weird stuff with the kids.
That just comes with the territory. I think we stumbled onto this discovery before. Something close to the photosynthesis of suffering. This is just something that has to happen. There's no escaping it. If you need divine people, they might, there might be some dragons they need to chase in order to stay tapped into their divinity. You know what I'm saying?
It's the only way they could talk to the gods. They have to rape children, and then the energy
Oh,
of the gods come in them.
whoa.
Oh,
Grape,
great.
Take children to the vineyard.
Take
Yeah, they
children
take
to the
both off
vineyard, so
the vineyard.
the words of the Lord can come down to them.
Right.
Uh,
The manna from heaven, right?
there you go.
Listen,
There's all there's weird cultural stuff. I forget what it's my understanding is it's just good to it's exclusive to maybe just one region in the world and one particular sect of people, but there's like rabbis that, they take the foreskin off with their teeth.
that's true.
A little kiss.
Atrocious.
That definitely happens.
And yeah, and look, it's a baby penis. It's not a it's not a rock hard, sexual thing. It could just be innocent enough, like, hey, it's just we're letting you know we love the baby. But even I don't know. Anything with a penis in the mouth just doesn't make sense to me. It just can't it's never there's never a non-sexual way to do it. But it's a circumcision and it's gonna help seal up the wound and possibly give the baby herpes.
Well, only possibly. It doesn't definitely give the baby herpes. I mean, and that's only if the rabbi has her. What if the rabbi's clean? Then the baby gets nothing and everybody's happy.
What is this, Tibet? Where's the Dalai Lama from? Tibet?
Yeah, but
It's one of those
stationed
beefing
in
with
India.
China countries.
They're stationed in India right now. I just thought,
Oh, yeah, okay.
yeah, see,
And maybe they like Indian boys. Is
See?
clearly why we need to move the base. These
listen,
Tibetan children are very ugly. They've never been given baby Botox. Take me to India.
they do nothing for me. These
But
children, the local children, do nothing for me. Take me to India.
I will get no messages from God until you bring me around sexy children.
And just in case, like I see, we got a couple people tuned in right now. Just in case you missed it, I'm just saying. So my wife took this one pretty hard. She was like,
Understandably.
"Oh man, damn it!" And I'm just like, "This is what happens when people occupy the high chair. We know this already. When humans pedestalize themselves, when you become the middleman between any spiritual system and everybody else, when you decide that you're the one who can deliver the information, corruption is not going to be far behind. So,
And kid diddling is right next to it.
that's part of the corruption. I include that in the corruption.
Yeah, we're taking money. We're laundering money. We're never giving you what you promised. There'll be no school. We have a private jet, and there'll be kids. I don't know.
Do with
It
that
just
information
seems
what you will, but there'll be kids.
it just seems to be a theme. And yeah, I mean, this is a person that's revered, beloved by what I would assume would be millions of people, possibly billions. He's basically Asian Pope.
Right.
He's the Asian Pope,
Yeah,
right?
he's the Asian Pope, basically. Yeah.
And I would argue that Judaism and Islam and Hinduism, they don't have anybody comparable to that. So it's really just a two-man kind of thing. There's the Pope and there's the Dalai Lama as just huge, recognizable international figures. And it seems at this point we can say for certain that they've both institutionally presided over epic numbers of kid diddling. Because I can't imagine that you're asking a kid to suck your tongue in front of people and there's nothing else being requested when nobody's around. Because you just feel comfortable. Hey, there's a camera there. There's a bunch of people watching. Suck my tongue. Because I don't know either. Because what I'd hate to do, because I feel like this would be more racist, is if you were just like, that's just their way. If you just removed all responsibility from them, like Asians don't recognize weird mouth stuff with kids. Like they just don't know. Like in India, they're clueless. No, we suck tongues. There's nothing unhygienic or weird or anything about it. I don't know.
That's how we roll, B.
Look,
the older the better, the younger the sweeter.
I know there's places in Africa and there's places in the Middle East where you hold hands to show affection and friendship.
Right.
And there's nothing, homosexual about it. And that can be
That's for the
weird
peons.
stuff.
That's for the peons. This is high chair.
Yeah, I
where
guess.
Know nothing about.
But what I'm saying is, even in that, like I could say, okay, well, yeah, culturally that would be weird here in America. It's like, what's up, dog? What's up, dog? Yo, you want to walk down the street holding hands? Yeah, B, we're super friends. I like you, you like me. We're really good friends, and everybody needs to know. Cool, let's walk hand in hand. That would just be weird. It'd be weird, but it wouldn't be something that I would be like, there would be revulsion. It would just be, that's a little odd, and it's uncomfortable. I wouldn't want to do it. but that's a world away from "Hey kids, suck my tongue." I,
Listen, I just want to say, to me, the worst part of this video is okay. So after he tries to kiss, after he kisses the kid on the lips, right? Now he's holding his face. He's staring into his eyes deeply. I mean, it's really weird. Like
I
I
want
said,
to believe it's innocent.
there,
I really
I,
want to. This is what I want to believe. I
Even
want
the
to
two
believe.
guys next to him look, no,
Like,
this is
what the
wrong.
fuck?
what are you doing, son?
You can see it right in their eyes.
Like, holy shit. And it could just be
The
something
niggas
you
out.
just you get to a certain age and you get weird or whatnot. But I want to believe that he's just so enlightened and so compassionate and so full of innocent love that we're seeing it through corrupted lens, that we're the weirdos, that this is completely innocent and silly, and there's nothing that should alarm us. I want, just like you want to believe Michael Jackson was just a big kid, and it was super innocent. Look, my childhood sucked. Just come for sleepovers. I want to have childhood with little boys. Look, you want to believe that, yeah, it was just innocent. We're thinking through corrupt minds, but I don't know. I don't know.
Listen, all of that. I was with you up until
The
suck
tongue
my
sticking out
tongue.
and suck my tongue. Michael Jackson is alleged, but this right here is no alleged over here.
No, listen. Like
There's
I
no
said,
alleged over here.
it's just flowing, right? Everything is still a little bit weird, but
Yeah, a little uncomfortable, but not.
right here is where it goes down the
Yeah,
drain.
Suck
hand
my
hand
tongue.
on the chest.
Look at this. That's what I tell. That's what I tell a whore after a good night.
Okay, but
Suck my tongue,
they
bitch.
but here's the thing too. They cut away with this. Okay, and I don't know why I want to defend this. What he could have possibly been doing is maybe it was a joke to see if he would do it, and then when he
Oh,
leaned
no.
in, he backed up to be
No.
like, nope.
No, don't
You-
look like it.
Put a pope behind that.
That's pretty close,
Put a
buddy.
Catholic pope
It-
behind
it
that, and it
is-
still looks the same.
It is, but they cut it before there was actual tongue suckage, and maybe that's because it would break some sort of international law if they actually showed it.
Look at
Aw,
that.
damn.
They had to blur it just because it
Yeah,
was
they
extra
did
weird.
have. Okay, but maybe they blurred it because they're trying. And look, all I know is he's involved. This is like Hong Kong, Tibet, Taiwan. There's a whole bunch of places that China just wants. That's basically theirs, but they're like, nah, we're not on board with your shit. And so I would see a reason to smear the Dalai Lama and to put this out there to smear him. I could see this as potentially being
But to smear
propaganda.
him, I think the
There's a
best way
smear
to
him is an
smear him-
alleged video of him telling a kid to suck
Not even an
suck his
alleged
tongue.
video.
This is an actual video of him telling a kid to suck
But
his
I don't
tongue.
have the full context. What if he was
What
trying to make a
context
point
do you
about?
need?
Okay, you don't just obey religious leaders. You listen to your instincts. And maybe he was testing the kid, and right at the moment where his mouth was about to suck his tongue, he pulls away and he's like, "You have failed the lesson." And he just tells him he failed the lesson and nothing happened.
That's a possibility.
And they're showing the blurred pictures of when they lip kissed, still kind of, but they lip kissed and they maybe blurred that out, and then they're trying to say, no, the kid actually sucked the tongue. But look, they edited shit out of all of these 911 tapes. They edit shit out of manifestos. They edit shit. Whenever the news gives you something, just look at what part they're leaving. So that's why I have to question it, because they didn't show the tongue sucking.
Shout out to the Dalai Lama, because isn't he originally Indian anyways? So isn't that?
No,
He don't look like he was trying to pull
I
back, dude.
mean, just the Buddha in general is originally Indian, correct?
Oh well,
I
some
believe the
things,
story
yeah,
originated
some
there,
things
yeah.
came over from India with Bodhidharma, a guy named Bodhidharma who showed up in China and brought some spirituality and supposedly like the 5 foundational forms of kung fu that he picked up while he was traveling. They said he would stop and watch the animals, and by the time he made it to China, he had learned these 5 animal styles, and he passed that down to them. There's some crazy stories about him. Also, why the monks, you see the monks that meditate, they walk around, they have one hand like in a prayer symbol, but they don't use 2 hands. It's because supposedly one of Bodhidharma's students severed one of his arms to appease Bodhidharma, and so he couldn't do the full prayer symbol. He just used one hand, and that's what they symbolize when they do it like that. But I don't know how much he would have had to do with Buddhism itself. I'm not sure, but either way, I just
Get
don't.
diddling.
I don't see where I'm gonna slow it down a little bit. I'm gonna slow it down. I'm gonna slow it down because this don't. I don't see where the Dalai Lama was trying to back away at all. First of all, he said, "Suck my tongue to a child." Look at this, bro.
True.
I
Like
mean,
that is undeniable. That part is true.
Even the child is like, wait a minute.
he's like, "What
Yeah.
the fuck?"
Wait a minute.
And everybody laughed. Everybody laughed when he said it. They said
Because
it like
maybe
they were
they
all
know
in on the
he's
joke.
really not gonna do it.
I don't know, bro.
Yeah.
Look, how close do you have to get before it's actually, you know what I mean?
So we're disavowing the Dalai Lama. Do we
Listen,
have to dis?
I preemptively disavow anyone who claims to be from a long line of special souls. And it's just me coming back every time. I know it looks like you chose a child and randomly gave him the mantle, but it's actually me. I'm back again, and I'm here to teach you more about spirituality.
The same shit over and over.
I'm almost automatically like, I'm just like, nope, bullshit, and I'm walking away. I'm walking away. The whole system that exists that keeps a Dalai Lama relevant to society, to me, I wouldn't debate anybody about it. I wouldn't, if somebody, was telling me stories about the Dalai Lama or how Buddhism saved their life, I wouldn't say anything about it. I wouldn't be like, that reincarnation shit's stupid. I don't necessarily believe that. But
You would ruin reincarnation
no,
Thanksgiving.
no, I wouldn't.
You would bring it up and fight people about it.
Definitely not. Not
Okay.
in the least. I would smile and nod, and I would sincerely, from the depths of my soul, hope that you get the absolute best experience from it that you could possibly derive. Whatever it is that I hope your placebo works perfectly and you're healed.
Don't you think they know though? Don't you think
Probably.
the Dalai Lama knows? Everybody knows.
He
And it's
knows.
just like, look, again, we want to get information to the masses that could help organize their mind, improve their life, make better citizens. They're just not going to listen unless we say you're magical. So it's just, we have to.
Which is fair.
You, as a child growing up, you showed some promise. You seem to really understand things, and somebody's got to carry the mantle because we need this figurehead. And eventually, you're gonna go crazy and start telling kids to suck your tongue.
Eventually, that's how it ends.
Right, and that's when we know we need to start looking for the new Dalai Lama. The old model is starting to go haywire.
I appreciate you bringing that up because the prediction that I gave my wife is this is the perfect opportunity to give him a special cup of tea and be like, all right, Dalai Lama's out of here. We looking for the new guy. And I think he said once in his stay that he wasn't coming back anymore. So he tried
Well,
to
maybe-
ruin the game.
What a
Well,
coincidence.
maybe this is how he incarnates into the next body. Is you suck my tongue, and this is where Larry Mandel got it from.
Right, the
It's an
spirit.
ancient Dalai Lama spiritual ritual.
The spirit goes through the tongue. So you suck my tongue, maybe you'll be the next. Or somebody in your bloodline. He seems a little too old to be the next Dalai Lama. And
Yeah,
he's
you're
pretty
right.
brown, too. I don't know if they want
he's a little too old to be the new Dalai Lama.
Yeah.
But
He's
not
already
too
corrupted.
old to
He
suck a
kissed-
tongue.
He kissed an old man. He's already corrupted.
He's just the right age for some religious figure tongue sucking.
Gosh, bro. But like I said, I think this is the perfect time to get him out of here. And that's not a suggestion. That's a prediction.
Prediction, fair enough.
I think that the guy sitting right there next to him, looking at him like, yo, he just blew the niggas up. He fucked it all up. We got to
Yep.
get him out of here, bro. We got to
He
take him
fucked
off
it
of
up.
here. So what they're going to do is they're going to give him a special cup of tea. He'll fade away. And like I said, he tried to ruin the game, I think because the Chinese government decided to install their own Dalai Lama. So they like created their own and was like, hey, we could do this too. You just want to claim you're special. We found somebody special and he's our Dalai Lama.
Yeah, that's what China's doing with all the religions. So they'll have like their own Catholic, their own
Yeah,
Muslim,
state-
and
To
yeah,
make
you
sure it
just
conforms with state standards.
yep,
Yeah.
and you just donate to them.
I ain't mad at him. So
Hey, I go for it.
Yeah.
I say go for it.
So this Dalai Lama tried to wreck the game, and he was like, all right, well, I'm not coming back. How about that? I'm the last Dalai Lama. And so that's probably already ran afoul of people who've been running this hustle for a long time. You can't just be like, yo, I'm
Did
the
he
last
say
one.
that?
Yeah. Yeah.
What a dick.
He tried to ruin
My
the
dog
game.
said, "I
He's
ain't
trying
coming
to take
back."
his ball and go home. He's trying
Yeah,
to take the
he's
ball.
he's pulling up the ladder. Well, I got here. It's been a great life. You would have no idea the number of boys I've gotten to suck my tongue. You've got no idea the life I've lived doing this Dalai Lama shit. No more of this. And he pulls the ladder up. Nobody else can get
Tribune
in.
India. Dalai Lama
Tibetan
likely to
spiritual
announce
leader.
he would not
He will
reincarnate.
not reincarnate.
Hating,
What a
hating, bro.
coincidence. The nigga's up.
Yeah, the niggas, he's like, you know what? Y'all want to make your own. You don't want to pay attention. Well, I'm out and I'm not coming back. But what they're gonna say, my prediction, after they give him the special cup of tea,
He
what I think
changed his mind.
he changed his mind, and his last wish, the last thing that he said was, "Actually, I am coming back." He whispered it into my ear on
while,
his deathbed.
while I was sucking his tongue, he whispered it to me.
He said, "Actually, I am coming back."
Sounds
So,
about right.
yeah,
I'm
so
coming back.
yes,
Yeah.
that's my prediction. Dalai Lama was about to get taken off of here because the nigga's up, and we need to start over. We need a fresh young child that nobody can blame. And I do want to point out one other thing. I don't want to keep showing this guy trying to get the kid to suck his tongue.
No, he's not trying at this point.
No, I believe I'm going to go out on a limb here and say the kid sucked his tongue. I think that's why they cut the video, is because
That
that
is
would
peer
have made
pressure
it.
at its best.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say it didn't happen. I'm gonna say it's CCP propaganda. I can't prove it
if
one
this
way
ain't
or
a
the
di-
other.
I don't know. I don't think this is a deep fake, bro. I don't think it's a deep fake. I don't think this is one of those fake moon landings. I don't know what director they could have
This
got.
is
Nah, this
Nat
looks like it's on
Geo.
the soundstage.
This is how you Nat Geo having a kid suck your tongue 101.
The disturbing part here is listen to the reaction of the crowd when the Dalai Lama made his request.
That's what I'm saying.
my tongue.
Laughter.
Right,
Maybe a little
because they know it's
uncomfortable.
ridiculous and that he's not gonna really do it.
And but he did it.
And if anybody there really thought that little boy's gonna suck that old man's tongue, I think there would have been some sort of gasp or outrage of somebody. That kid's got to have a father.
This is
It's-
India. You're giving a lot.
Yeah,
You're
it
giving
depends.
a
It
lot.
depends on what caste this child is from. I'm telling you, it just depends on what caste he's from, bro.
The untouchables are tongue suckers.
Yeah.
It
Gotta
is
be.
written.
They got to be tongue suckers. Yeah, I don't believe him. I don't believe that he pulled back at the last second. I don't believe that the Dalai Lama.
He's been doing that shit in Tibet
He's
for hundreds of
been doing
years.
it the whole time. That's an assumption on my part, but I'm just going with what the compendium already says. The compendium recognizes that corruption, power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely, I completely accept that. And also, the finger pointing at the moon is probably some of the greatest advice that Buddha ever imparted to humans. Right? Whether you think he existed or not, whatever. That's not. I'm not here to debate that. What I want to say is, Buddha himself said, "Don't worship me. I am a finger pointing at the moon. If you concentrate on the finger, you miss all the heavenly glory." So anybody who is the finger pointing at the moon, if you want to pedestalize and adorn the finger, there's going to be a problem. There's going to be a problem. Even if the finger has rings on it and it's got fancy fabric and henna tattoos and shit, it's still pointing at the moon. What is it pointing at? The middleman, I just saw a financial study that said businesses and people who align themselves as middlemen make more money overall than either of the people on either side of the transaction. So the middleman makes more money than the person who's buying the product and the person who's selling the product retail.
Because you got to fuck one of them.
You go, or both.
Yeah, or both if you're good. Yeah.
If you're good, you fuck them both. And they're happy about it. They shake hands. So if you can say, I'm going to introduce this person to this person, but not exactly, I'm going to be in the middle, and I'll put the deal together. When you think about, you factor in how much money is made versus how much work is done, how much labor is actually put out by all three parties, the middleman makes the most money. These are spiritual middlemen.
Yes.
That's what the priest class is. You can't, if you go directly to God, I don't have a Bentley. So fuck all that. You got to come to me first. You tell me and I'll tell him. That's how this goes. You worship me and then God blesses you. Well, won't God bless me for worshiping God directly? Oh no, that's blasphemy.
Yeah.
That's
I had
blasphemy.
I had that conundrum too when I was going through my little spiritual journey, like looking for like a place to follow God or whatever, or try to understand what God is. And then that's the main thing they try to trick you with is like, no, son, you need me. You can't do that by yourself. I'm anointed. So like that's the little trick that they try to sell you. But if you read the book, like a lot of us don't do, it is better just to have your own little temple in the dark and pray when nobody could see you than just to have everybody around you. It's like sping Negro spirituals left and right. But I don't know, man. Everybody needs somebody, I guess.
Once I got wind of the fact that you had to vote a certain way, and there was certain books you just shouldn't read, they were just inherently evil. That was when I was like, okay, I think I'm done here.
Yeah, the nigga's up.
I got a lot of love for a lot of the principles. To this day I agree with many of the I think the deep spiritual truths, whether you believe things literally or not. Stories get told, and there's a moral of that story, and it imparts some degree of wisdom on to humans. It tells a great truth about human nature or human ideals.
Depending on the story, the 10 Bears.
Still, and I definitely, well, I definitely think that there was a time where, the masses of people, there was a way that you had to distill that information and prepare it for the people, and the priestly class arguably helped organize humans. Like, they served a purpose we wouldn't have civilization as we know it today if there wasn't a priestly class.
Right.
But at a certain point, it's like, all right, so there's these ancient ideas that nobody really cares about anymore. There's things that, humans have pretty much picked up and they've got now, and they all seem to have a grip on it. But, we could just say, hey, this is going to help you deal with grief and give you a deeper appreciation for things and help you to find meaning in things. And there's a deep psychological healing process that occurs when you kind of engage these things, and it may improve your relationships and how you deal with the world and the people around you, right? There's value in it, but it seems like the people that hold that office is, once they get there, like, okay, this is the prescribed or the alleged intent of holding this position, but really, we're just going to take a lot of money and need a lot of alone time with your kids. There's nobody that just wants to impart the information for the good of humanity. It doesn't seem like there's anything around. Like, it's always somebody living way nicer or wanting to do things that they can't do, but now they have a position where they can get whatever they want. I don't think David Koresh was really pulling bitches like that until he got the upper room.
Right.
Bro, you'll be surprised, like, because think of it this way, like, so this guy probably read like a very important book, and then now he's giving advice to people. So if those advice that he's given to somebody is working to that person, that he's gonna be like, yo, you're a fucking genius. You see what I'm saying? So it's just like people get lost. They're like, well, I'm getting my life was shit before this. This guy's been giving me advice, or lady has been giving me advice, and now my whole life has turned around.
And there's value in that.
Yeah, and so people just get lost. People get lost into that.
And that's why I'd like to think the best. I want to believe that it was a social experiment he pulled away, and it was to make a point, that he sincerely.
That video would have been out, man. There would be no cut. There would be no. It would be a full.
No,
video.
but if you wanted to smear him, you would put out a cut. Look, I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. I don't know if tongue sucked or not. I like the idea of living in a world where everybody that wants to give humans information that could help improve their condition, that they're not just doing it because they want access to kids.
No, I agree
or
with
money.
You. I think those are the poor ones. Those are the ones who are not making money. Those are the ones you would never hear about. But the ones that have power and have all the money and you got to pay them all that, they're the ones in front. Look, the Bible even tells you, it's like, y'all motherfuckers gonna fall for the motherfuckers that do magic. That's the ones you're gonna fall for. Y'all gonna praise them and love them, and I'm telling you, that's not the ones y'all need to watch. And
no, that concept is definitely in there. When I think there was one of the epistles that Paul wrote, where he's like, look, you love it when people just tell you bullshit. You love it when people slap the shit out of you and take your money and take advantage of you. You can't get enough of it. And then there was that one king who was like, yo, bring me the prophet. And it's like, oh, not you. Like, what are you going to tell me? Like, every time you come in front of me, you tell me some bad shit. You're not telling me what I want to hear. And the king would basically just pay prophets like, look, tell me what I want to hear. Just tell me what I want to hear, please. And there's just something about that. Humans just, they don't want to be given their medicine. They always want their candy. Don't tell me what I need.
Not everybody can handle the truth.
Tell me what I want. And so, yeah, the people that are like, look, I am going to take advantage of you. I am going to get all your money. I'm eventually going to have your kids go on a no adults cruise with just the spiritual leaders. Eventually, we're getting there. But you know what? Here's some information ancillarily. Like, yeah, I read it. I kind of know it. You're wowed by it. It's making positive changes in your life, and I need to capitalize on this. I don't want to believe that it's all that ugly.
I'm with you.
And that I just want to believe there's people that are just sincere and want to help.
They have no money. They're broke. No one's listening to them. They're on the soapbox just screaming and yelling. Those are the ones.
I don't know, man. I think that
it's hard to get around it when you put it back up. My belief is diminishing.
Every time the picture comes up.
There's a capacity that exists in humans to exploit power dynamics, right? And it's extremely difficult to pull yourself out of that. It takes a lot of work. And I'm not saying the Dalai Lama is not a person who's done work. Like, this is one of the spiritual leaders, most recognized spiritual leaders on the planet. But also, I mean, this is a person, I don't know how old this person was when they found him and told him that he was the Dalai Lama, right? Or maybe the story goes he found them. Maybe he just did some super mystical shit and just walked up to the temple like, I'm back. And they were like, oh, he's here. So they just, wrapped a robe around him and put him on the pedestal.
He knew they liked kids and he knew how to trick them. Right. So he was like, oh.
Now, maybe that's what it is.
Did he honeypot?
Maybe the age that you become the Dalai Lama, you're forever attracted to boys that age that you become the Dalai Lama. Maybe that's the curse of being the Dalai Lama.
It actually sounds like a pretty good excuse, honestly.
I'm trying to give him something. I'm trying to help him out of this.
You should actually be their publicist.
Look, it's not his fault. It was just when he became the Dalai Lama. So we're trying to wait till they turn at least 18 before we find the next Dalai Lama.
Oh, yes. Okay. He's a dual-spirited person, right? So when the Dalai Lama entered his body, no pun intended, when the Dalai Lama entered that child's body, it split the spirit in two. So there was the child and there was the Dalai Lama who's been here for hundreds of years. So they share a consciousness. So, it'd still be kind of weird for two little boys to be like, yo, suck my tongue. That would be weird. That would still be weird. There's no way around this. There's no way to.
It would be a Stephen King novel.
That's true. It would be a part of a Stephen King novel. It might not be the whole thing, but it would be part of it. It's just weird. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. When you sit yourself in the high chair, this is what's coming. This is what's coming. Anybody who points at themselves rather than pointing at the moon is very likely going to be a problem, right? But I understand the whole shaman aspect of it. They were performing the placebo effect so people could understand the depth of what was going on. If it was just like you said, it was just a regular guy walks into your tent like, yo, I'm gonna take you on a spirit walk. They'd be like, yo, get the fuck out of here, George. But if you put feathers in your hair and paint your face and you wear colorful furs and you dance around and you hold a stick and shake it up to the sky, they'll be like, oh, he must really be tapping into some deep shit. So I better listen to this guy. So see
if his tongue is dry. Maybe somebody can suck it. He deserves a good tongue sucking.
Listen, all that pageantry. The only way we're gonna know if you're really as holy as you say you are. I'm gonna have to taste your tongue.
Look, and this is maybe some mystical principle that the fullness of the spirit of the Dalai Lama is infinite, and when it breaks in two, it's still just as much infinite. But if it ascends to the heaven and reincarnates without leaving any of it behind, then it's lost forever. And so only through a good tongue suck does half of the Lama energy enter in and remains on
Earth.
Earth.
To see how Judaism lasted so long. Really good at just like, okay, we're gonna just rewrite the book. Put it this way.
One of the smartest things. One of the smartest things us two shiftless Negroes ever did was to subjugate a Yakubian white man to give us stock tips, financial advice, and monetize all of our spiritual efforts. Where would we be if we hadn't done this? We'd be nowhere.
We'll
We'd
be in our
nowhere.
huts, kings and queens,
Exactly.
just chilling and fishing.
It'd be a village full of kings and queens. No work would be getting done because there's no slaves, there's no indentured
Nothing.
servants. Just a
kings and
continent
queens.
full of kings and queens laying around topless eating fruit. Nothing would have got done if we didn't bring the Yakubian caveman to give us some skyscrapers and Starbucks. We'd be fucked. We'd be fucked. So us two specifically are extremely smart because now we get to see the era of our shiftless ways for so long, and now we up and running. Look at us now, live streaming the podcast, talking about some fancy shit like this. We wouldn't have been able to do it. We wouldn't have been able to pull it off. I'm telling you. But I appreciate the ability to even look for.
It does
Like,
feel extra chewy. I'm glad you called me on
sucking
it.
tongue just doesn't end it.
Is this motherfucker really concocting a legal defense for the tongue-sucking Dalai Lama? It's the only way to leave the fullness behind before the rest returns to the heavens.
Yeah.
Gotta leave some on
Either
earth.
that or he's senile. He's senile. He has Alzheimer's. He thinks he's 8 years old. Like, there's a lot of ways they could go with this. But either way, I don't believe him.
No, look, this was him. Remember we talked about he's not going to reincarnate. This was the moment he changed his mind.
Oh, right.
This was the changing of his mind. You know what? I thought better of it. Suck my tongue and take this llama.
Yeah, I think I do.
Take this llama energy. I'm gonna leave it behind. I'm sorry. I should have never said I'm taking it away forever.
I was gonna stay gone, but you know what?
Oh, no! Wait!
The little lip kiss. The little lip kiss.
He ran
that
up
kid
with the
is
phone
uncomfortable.
Yeah, that guy's he's about to blackmail something heavy.
Like,
got him, got his ass. Got him. Got him.
Look at the force.
Caught him slipping.
I think my son's gonna be the next Dalai Lama.
Yeah, look at it.
Well,
Look, he pulled his face in. Now, first of all, the kid seems like he knows the protocol, right? The kid came in to do the little spiritual headbutt thing. Let me slow this down again. This is playing too fast. Right? Playback speed right here. We're going to go down to half speed. So the kid, he's doing the headbutt, and Dalai Lama's, oh, no, give me that mouth, son. Look at him. Bang, right? And the kid's pulling away. He doesn't want to kiss him. He's like, yeah, all right, old man. It's a little weird. And then he laughs. He's like, look at you. You're so innocent. You don't want to taste my mouth. Look at you.
Suck my tongue,
I remember those days when I was there. Now he's doing the right thing. See, this right here is a moment of beauty, right? This could be on the cover of National Geographic, no pun intended. It's a magazine cover. This is Time magazine cover of the year. Dalai Lama meets a low caste child in India, and he gives him a spiritual headbutt, and everybody's happy. It's all beautiful. Little did they know what was going to happen a few seconds later.
Right. That was the cover of the National Geographic.
Right.
And then this was the centerfold.
So this is exactly what happened with Gandhi as soon as they finished talking to him. He just went to the room with the little girls and laid down.
Exactly. Yeah, suck my tongue. Here, let me show you how to really get to heaven. Look at the kid.
That kid knows he's uncomfortable. That kid knows there's something not right going on here.
Listen.
Look, until I see the footage of the tongue sucking, my position is it didn't happen. This is not concrete evidence. The CCP and the internet in general is out to smear everyone. The news has lied about literally everything. I've got no reason to believe them now. Fuck them.
So that's your story and you sticking to it.
That's my official position. I choose, since I've not been confronted with unequivocal, undeniable evidence from a trustworthy source.
Okay, that's fair.
I am choosing to see the better path for my own mental health, to continue to live in this world and feel okay about it. And just again, the news is full of shit. So yeah, I think in the long run, my mental health will be better to just believe that it never happened. It's Chinese propaganda.
Look, I do the same thing for coming to America too, so I get it. I get it.
That's a lot. That's a lot more innocuous, a lot less damaging. Well, I won't say less damaging.
If you like the first movie and you recognize it for the classic,
if you truly love the first movie, you it's exactly what he said. You have to just do that. Stay away from it.
So we are fortunate enough to have our dear brother So Legit just joined us. So,
yay!
Yeah, we got our fam on our first Rumble live stream. We brought the fam in to help analyze this simulation with us, the absurdity of this whole thing. And I don't know, did you hear any of what we talked about so far?
Nah, I just hopped on, but I want to say on the inaugural thing here, Rumble, young man, Rumble.
Yes, sir.
Fuck you two.
Yes, sir. That is the sentiment around here. We still gonna feed them clips, and we gonna work the algorithm to extract the resources. But as a record label, as a staff, a company, and a crew, fuck you too. But
yes,
let's see. I'll put you in,
AKA YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. We've been talking about this for a few minutes. So I'm gonna put some
just show them the
fresh
picture
eyes on it. No, I'm gonna start it from the beginning. We're gonna put some fresh eyes on it. Let me make sure it's at right speed. Playback. Full speed.
You're not of esoteric. You're straight white, right?
yeah.
You're not corrupted, right?
But check this out. So we got some news. Recently, some things happened with the Dalai Lama, and it's got some people in an uproar. Some people are saying that maybe he was just passing on some spiritual knowledge. I don't know. But I'd like to get your opinion on what you think is going on here with the Dalai Lama. So I'm just going to play this video and you let me know.
Okay.
All right. So far, right? So far, the Dalai Lama.
Not too bad.
Not too bad. He's kissed the child on the lips. The child did look a little bit uncomfortable, but we already said there's cultural practices that it's not always what Americans do. People in Africa, men in Africa, hold hands with each other while they walk. It's a lot of things we don't know about. And then this.
Edsa, my tongue.
Whoa.
So the Dalai Lama, right? This on his 14th reincarnation through the divine life cycle, just asked the child to suck his tongue. What's your take on that?
I mean, that's I don't quite understand what's happening. Yeah, I don't really understand. Yeah, it's a little
weird.
It's definitely problematic.
Little kid diddling feeling, right?
Yeah, it feels a little dirty, right? Feels a little dirty.
Yeah.
Is there any canonical or apocryphal stories or writings about the original Dalai Lama, where he was just like, and they would go out and they would meditate and they do a little kung fu and then suck each other's tongues? Is there anything to substantiate it? Because I don't know.
Not that I know of.
And I just want to go on record. I just want to go on record saying, if our brother So Legit doesn't know about anything that could free this up from being just downright weird, it's probably not out there. I think we could safely say it's probably not out there.
Probably not. Well, now you know what's funny though is
my tongue, bro.
No bueno. I mean, but you know what's wild about that though is like, here's my question: does this negate all the other stuff that he's taught or whatever? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like the same with if Michael Jackson was gazing at booty holes, does that mean Rock With You is not fly?
Oh,
no,
absolutely.
It's funny because it brings up because there's a lot of sick teachers that are still incredible teachers. So it's like, does it make him not the Dalai Lama? It's out of pocket. It's out of pocket, way out of pocket what he did. But my question is too, isn't it in front of like an audience?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of people?
And they all laugh.
Well, there's the other question, like, well, there's the other thing is like, is it potentially out of context? Because like, what are all those people? Would he do it in front of all these people if he was trying to get the old Dalai Lama thing licked on? I'm just curious.
You heard of R. Kelly,
like,
right?
What is
you heard of R. Kelly?
No, I'm glad I got another lawyer on here. See,
I'm just
what
saying,
else may be happening?
R. Kelly do all those years
facts
to not get caught.
Listen.
Well, it also cuts before he sucks his tongue too. So where's the rest of the video?
We don't want to believe it.
Listen, Doc.
Well, no. I'm just curious. I mean, hey man, I didn't make the law. I didn't make the law, bro.
That's why I'm joking.
I'm trying to be objective because the internet and all the they're trying to cancel the Dalai Lama. And now he did say "suck my tongue." It's a problem. That's a problem, bro. That's gross. And
I think it was a test.
It's gross.
Me personally, I think it was a test, and when the
Could
kid
be.
went to suck his tongue, he backs away and he doesn't literally let him suck his tongue. That was my
He said,
the
"This
question
kid's
is,
dumb.
if
Get him
he
out of
here's
here. He
the
was gonna
thing.
suck my tongue."
If he did suck his tongue, they would have had it on the video. Let's be honest, because that's the most salacious part would be when the kid licked his tongue or whatever. So that's not
That might
present.
get you a community
Why?
guideline
Why is
strike
it
on
not
YouTube.
present?
That
I don't
might
know,
get you a
Tank.
guideline
No,
strike.
I heard.
Vaginal
I
lips
heard
don't
you can
get
shave
you.
labias.
Right.
Yeah, I heard
Really?
you can shave labias out this bitch.
Is
I
they doing
heard
that
some
on
news.
YouTube?
I
I
saw
don't
some
know.
news. One of my favorite news sources did a whole piece on it, man. It was fantastic.
Listen, I'm not taking my girl to a Brazilian wax ever again. I know that much.
She's gonna get a little pinch, little
Yeah,
clip.
she's
Never
gonna get a
going.
little pinch.
She's banned.
Pinch the button. But no, all I'm saying, of course, this doesn't negate anything, any other people that he's helped or any stuff like that. It's just always interesting to see these figureheads get kind of swirled up in this type of shit. Because I mean, I'll open the floor for discussion if anybody can think of a scenario other than it was a test. Even though it was a test, that's a little weird test, right? That's a strange test. Let me see if this kid will suck my tongue or not. But I don't know where that goes after you
Maybe-
request a child to suck your tongue.
Maybe it was like a religious foreign exchange student program, and he was gonna have to go be like a Catholic altar boy for 6 months or something.
You just had to get
And
some
he was
clothes
just
and practice.
prepping him. Like he's
Right.
just prepping. Look, someone
He's
may ask you
training
to
him.
suck their
He's
tongue.
training him.
Right, and he pulls away. It's like, no, do not do that.
I
here's-
think. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think
Go.
the wisdom that saves us from all of this is contained in the pointing at the moon. Because even if you think about it, the moon ain't shit. The moon is just reflecting the sun. The moon is just resonance of the sun, right? That you can't look directly at. And so then the
It's
prophet
actually
of the
a
Buddha,
hologram with the nano machines inside. We saw the movie.
Satellite.
I mean, yeah, it's a satellite.
it's also that, but the ancient people didn't know that, so the metaphor remains accurate. So even the teacher is saying, you're caught up with me, and even the shit that I'm looking at is like a muddied, fucked up, dumbed down version of the real shit. I'm just making sense of it as best I can and trying to distill it and deliver it to you, but it's bigger than the moon. It's some shit we can't even see right now. We're getting a little bit of resonance from it, and I seem to be able to harness that resonance better than others, and I want to impart it onto you, but you shouldn't get caught up with me. And that's the problem is, like So Legit said, whether we embrace the art or acknowledge the greatness of a person's creativity because they're a piece of shit, we're all kind of a piece of shit. Like if he dropped some jewels that just resonated some infinite mind-blowing wisdom, it's like, yeah, I like that part. The tongue-sucking part, I don't like that.
Right.
And I think all of these kind of crazy choices we have to make because of social media and deciding whether the person is worthy to even be mentioned anymore. One of my favorite examples from the compendium is the Bill Cosby shit.
Right.
You know, like he fought NBC. It's like, look, I'm going to be a doctor. My wife's going to be a lawyer. I'm not going to be like a janitor and she's going to be a garbage or I think she's supposed to be like a secretary or something. And he fought to say like, hey, I'm going to make sure that the black identity is mass mediated out there in a different way than what you're seeing, in a more positive, successful way. I think that's going to be good for people's consciousness. And it was a groundbreaking show that was very people from all races kind of tuned into it. It was a bridge. It was culturally, I would say, a racial bridge for the country. Like something you could look at and relate and talk to somebody who you're not exactly the same of, but have some sort of middle ground. So you can't take away from the massive success and the effect of what that person did, but he drugged bitches and raped them. Or took them to the vineyard.
Yeah,
he raped them. That's undeniable. And but I don't understand why we have to choose. The founding fathers wrote some brilliant ideas and had incredible ideas about how human beings should govern themselves. And if you look at the alternative, like China and the CCP and living under some authoritarian shit, yeah, governing yourself sounds much better. But they own slaves. Okay, but one has nothing to do with the other. Yeah, they own slaves and they wrote some dope shit. Yeah, I gave you some spiritual jewels. I had little boys suck my tongue. It happens. It happens.
There's
yeah, go ahead.
there's a something I'm always talking about. You guys have heard me talk about it ad nauseum. Is this thing called integral theory, and they break down kind of consciousness and intellect into quadrants, 4 quadrants, and there's different kinds of intelligence. So there are Zen teachers back in the 1800s, powerful spiritual teachers that transformed whole cultures that also believed in war. So it's like, how do you quantify a Zen Buddhist with an AK-47? And it's just that humans are complicated. And I think the suffering that we experience as humans is when we want it to be so cut and dry, right? We want it to be, and that's why contemplation and contemplative living is such a challenge. But I think in our current configuration, that's why we're having this conversation. That's why I think that something like that's coming out. And if you wanted to be real willy-nilly, say maybe that's why he did it, who knows, right? Nobody knows. But that it's that the contrast is always exists. To me, the craziest people I meet are overtly good people. Look at American Psycho, like perfectly buttoned up, don't have any problems. People that are always positive to me are serial killers. It's like it's always going to be complicated. Emotional intelligence, spiritual intelligence, interpersonal communication. There's this complex kind of ecosystem of what it means to be a human being. And you can't really throw out the baby with the bathwater. That's the Solomon thing, cutting the baby in half. You know what I'm saying? It's like the Dalai Lama can be a high level spiritual person. I mean, Gandhi had little boys in his bed. You know what I'm saying? Malcolm was Detroit Red before he was Malcolm. Dr. King liked to get pussy, bro. Like, what do you want from us? We're human. I have
want
all
more
kinds
people like Malcolm X. Just like you said, he was this bad thing, and he decided to stop doing it.
Right, and that's why he's one of my favorites, because he's the only one that didn't continue to be a piece of shit.
Exactly.
And they gave him an opportunity. Like, look, we can give you more power and more authority, so you could be a piece of shit. He's like, nah, I think I'll go out on my own. Everybody else was like, hey, you're pretty popular now. I'm going to go beat up a white hooker. That's what I'm going to do. Because I can get away with it.
But can we allow the space for that evolution? And that's what the cancel culture is like worst at. It's like, oh, well, this person is no longer a valid part of our society because they're not perfect.
Oh no, we definitely need to give people, they definitely need time for apology and forgiveness and all that. But I think depending on the crime, you know what I mean?
For sure.
If it doesn't warrant you an exile on Walrus Island, I want you to have a path to redemption, right? Everybody should have an opportunity to have a redemption arc and learn from their mistake, and the brilliance is still there. Right? Like I can't look the face of God directly, but I could see the light from the sun. I could stare at its face and the moon. Right? And I can have this dude, and this dude is pointing at it, and I can acknowledge, like, wow, he has some fucked up shit about, but I don't want to take people's achievements and genius that they shared with us and I'm like, I got to throw those out now because that person had demons. And I don't think you have to do one or the other. I don't think you have to make excuses for it or deny it or explain why there's still values in what they left, why there's still value in what they leave for the world, right? Just because they had that other fucked up shit. I just think that's a ridiculous standard, you know? Like,
I agree. I agree completely. Yeah. I think what it's good for is to help shake people off of the icon. It shakes people off the finger. You know what I'm saying? People who are going to be like, oh, this guy's fucking sucking on kids' tongues. And maybe you can still use things that he said or things that he pointed at while not pedestalizing the person. Right? Because I think that's always the biggest issue is pedestalizing people. When you put people in the high chair, you get bad shit. Bad shit happens. And that's fair because they're humans. Humans going to human. They're always going to do what they do. Nobody's exempt. Nobody's perfect in this walk or anything like that. And I think the more you trust them, the more authority you give them, you kind of actually making it a more slippery slope for them to figure out how to navigate. You know, if
Asian Sinead O'Connor needs to rip up his picture, though. That's what needs to happen.
That's the program, though, right? I know I've done it in my life. I mean, it's a deep psychological neural pathway for a lot of us. Is like, whether it's our parents or a basketball player, we in some way on the shadow side of things, we put people in those high chairs so that we can knock the legs out when we feel less. Yeah, it's part of the programming. You know what I mean? It's like you don't want to. Yeah, you want to, because then it makes you feel like your flaws are not so bad after all. So seeing the Dalai Lama, I think the biggest thing for me in this specific thing is if he was really on some diddling, he wouldn't be doing it in front of a crowd. You know, so whatever it was,
87 years
it was
old,
on public display.
You've had this power for years.
You ever seen an 87-year-old man in a nursing home? He'll just pull his dick out, bro.
Well, what if?
Most definitely. Most definitely.
But what if Alex Jones is right? And we're really ruled by lizard interdimensional pedophiles, and the Dalai Lama's like, look, the mothership is here. They said that the ships are already here. He's like, okay, well, now they know that they're basically ruled by kid touchers. We don't have to keep this behind, closed doors anymore. Right. Maybe
that's a possibility.
That's maybe one explanation.
I'm man. See, this is where we diverge, because my thing is, I don't think the mothership is the lizard people. I think the mothership is the good guys, bro. I want it to be the good guys, not the lizard people.
That's what you wanted.
I want it to be
He wants it to be that.
Look, if
the Anunnaki, man.
If you show up with ancient wisdom and 5 different styles of kung fu, you're a fallen angel. You're some supernatural shit. Ain't no regular dude doing that. Hey, I know y'all didn't know how to make metal before, but now you have it. It's some supernatural shit. I'm surprised Ancient Aliens hasn't done an episode on your boy yet.
If you cut your arm off, I'll teach you how to fight like a tiger.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny? Do you guys know how they do the whole Dalai Lama thing where they find them when they're like 5 years old?
Yeah.
And so essentially what the Dalai Lama is just the seed of a previous Lama, and they go and they find it in another little kid. Right. So also
they do find it
to
in
that
a little
point,
kid. Yeah. Sorry.
Amen. To that point, that's got to be psychologically. So these guys are plucked out of their lives when they're 5 years old and thrown into this life. So to say that they don't have some psychological misgivings would be ridiculous. Like they're all a little crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like just on a kind of relational, like cognitive, objective way to be plucked out of your life. Out of your
fucked. There's definitely fuck process.
Wow. That's facts. Yeah,
that's
the Disney
right.
Channel kids didn't make it out. So you know the Dalai Lama kids is fucked up. They just don't have no TikTok.
That's crazy.
Look, and that's why nobody can be above criticism or mockery.
That's right. That's right.
And I immediately thought about like how we, American culture canceled Sinead O'Connor when she tore up that picture of the Pope on SNL. But it wasn't until like decades later where they were like, oh yeah, he was covering up massive child molestation. But it's like somebody stood up and was like, yeah, so it's like, well, you ripped up a picture of a pope. You can't do that. Yeah, but what if he's covering up child vineyarding? What if, isn't that bad?
That's right, man.
Isn't that bad?
Yep.
So as soon as you see an immediate reaction, especially when you see masses of people conditioned to think this person cannot be criticized or this person, cannot be mocked. There's probably some shit going on.
The history of the popes alone has got.
Oh my God!
Haven't been the best of people.
Cultural, the cultural game is like none of the systems that are in place want humans playing the long game. That's why cancel culture is what it is they're essentially trying to scare you off of the long game, and stuff like that takes 20 years to come out. So it's like you got to be a strong person to stand on your laurels, knowing that you might not be vindicated ever. Right. Yeah, and that's like why people like Malcolm are so important. And even the thing with Sinead. But the reason that is that the power structure knows it can freak you out with like pulling away your money, pulling away your power to scare you back in line. You know what I mean? That's just part of how it works and why it's hard to be, to have it last so long. That is such a tripped out image of him kissing that kid, bro. It's so rough.
Right?
Jesus, man. It's scary, bro.
It is.
Scary,
no matter how you
bro.
slice it, it's just not something that I think is going to be explained away. Like I said, I don't know, you weren't on to hear my prediction, but my prediction is, oh boy, yeah, it does cut at but still, I'm already sold. I don't need to actually see the kid suck his tongue. I'm already sold, bro. Like
That little kid got a dose of Dolly trauma, is what he got. He's gonna live with that for the rest of his life.
Oh yeah.
yeah, dude, it's unbelievable. But I think this is possibly where the Dalai Lama gets served a special cup of tea, and he's on his way out. You know, this is the only his handlers. There's a whole high council that actually runs shit. The Dalai Lama's the figurehead. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole high council
Board
of
of
lamas.
trustees.
They call themselves the high lamas. So they're all the bosses who, you know, the mafia bosses who control shit behind scenes. But the Dalai Lama is the figurehead. So they're gonna have a meeting and be like, bro, I think we're done with this guy. I think he's used up all of his lamaing. So, you know, we'll have somebody to have a child deliver him a cup of tea.
But listen,
and once he drinks the tea, you know, we're gonna go on our search for the next Dalai Lama. But he gotta take him off of here, bro. This shit is getting crazy.
Doesn't the monastery full of meth make more sense now?
The monastery full of meth is one of my favorite monasteries on the planet. Every monk in there was addicted to methamphetamines, and all they did was clean shit and take care of the temple. And it was some punk ass.
As far
tourists.
as we know.
Hey, that's
As
I don't
far
even
as we
care.
know. You know who else does a lot of meth? Porn stars.
But
So I
listen,
don't know. After seeing this from the Dalai Lama, I don't know what the fuck is going on in those monasteries.
the good part is
They probably got meth and kids.
only people outside of the monastery complained. Nobody said, "Yo, they dragged me inside the monastery and took me
Well,
to
now
the
we
vineyard."
know. Well, no,
Nobody
that's
said
what.
that. What they
Well,
said was,
that's
I
the
went to
part they
visit-
left out.
I went to visit the monastery and they were all high, and now my image of the monastery is shattered. So somebody should do something about it. They weren't bothering nobody. The people who
Okay.
came there to complain came from a town that was like 5 miles away. They came to get their blessings,
Fair.
and the people who were
So
giving out
meth
the
could build
blessings was
nations.
high
See, but
on
look,
meth.
I say
but look
go
how
for it.
this behavior from the Dalai Lama has colored my perception of other monks and monasteries.
See?
So, dude, overall,
See?
it wasn't a good look. I need to check my my
Yeah.
religious racism.
See that? See
That was an unfair jump.
Yeah,
God
Dalai
bless
Lama's
those meth addicted monks.
Dalai
Absolutely.
Lama's bugging, but we'll see. The jury's still out. The jury is still out on what was going on. We've gotten a few nice little spins on it, on possibilities as to what could be going on. But the basic answer is the Dalai Lama is a human being. And sometimes beings ask children to suck their tongues. This is something that happens. This is not a once-in-a-lifetime thing. It's not something we've never seen before. And it's definitely not something we're never going to see again. So
Ain't stopping anytime soon.
Well, and
Yeah, bro.
it's proof too that this simulation, like this whole thing, is breaking down little by little. You
Yeah,
know, it's like
yeah.
could you imagine? I wouldn't have believed this till just this moment that happened, and that's these kind of things are happening in every sector of life where you're like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
Say that again. There's a
Yeah.
mothership that. What are you talking about? The Pentagon said what? They shot down what? There's footage of what so and so did what. And it's just, I think, like, we're all being shown, like, so, you know, the plain view of like what's been going on behind the scenes, whether it's pedophilia or corruption. It's just, that's the time we're in, man. The jig is up, you know, or whatever. What did you say
nigga's
before?
up.
The
The
nigga's
nigga's
up.
up.
Or,
The
nigga's
oh,
up.
man.
The
I got to
nigga's
be
up.
careful with that one. But this is Rumble, so yeah.
Hey, listen.
I dove right in.
Listen, you got everybody within earshot of this podcast. The Culture of Dangerous Gentlemen, the Negro members give you full usage of
Yes.
the N-word.
We have
If
no
you want to
issue.
be
Go
forward-thinking
right
and
ahead. Be
progressive,
free. Freedom
you
of
wanna be
speech.
forward-thinking and progressive, we replace the N-word with the word Rogan, which is, you know, I'm pretty sure you can put two and two together.
Just spell it
already.
backwards.
And
you
you
know?
can see, but you can call him a Rogan, or you can just flat out say nigger. Who cares? It's just a word. Everybody has freedom of speech, and anybody who would try to attack you or initiate violence because of words
Shazam.
spoken,
So if you've seen the
it's
movie,
Shazam.
you know what's gonna happen.
they are a psychopath. Anybody who could hear you speak. Now, I'm not saying go call somebody a nigger, because that's like, you know, racial. That could cause a fight. Right, just like calling somebody any number of other racial slurs could cause a fight. But I'm
A
saying,
tongue sucker.
if
Yeah.
you just want to say the word and somebody threatens you with violence, that person is a psychopath. And do whatever you need to do to protect yourself. That's all I'm saying. It's a free word. Anybody who can say, listen, just say that shit. It's very cleansing. It's very freeing. Our homeboy, what is his name? Lakach. He says it in the morning while he's doing yoga. He whispers nigger to the sky. And that's one of his yoga poses. It's like downward dog.
Echoes.
He's got poses where he just whispers nigga to the sky. It's very freeing. It's a spiritual experience. So trust me, just say it. Who cares? But the nigga's up because we see the trick that you're pulling, and the only problem is that people are telling on the trick and not allowing it to keep going. And speaking of tricks that people are pulling, I'm gonna put the screen back up for the listeners. Peace to everybody who's watching and tuned in on Rumble. We appreciate y'all. Drop some comments if some questions you want to ask, you want to figure something out. Feel free. But one of the things that I definitely wanted to talk about this week, just a little bit. We don't got to get too crazy about it. It's just interesting to me. So, Bud Light, right? First of all, let me start by saying this. Bud Light is what you get when you drink real beer and then piss into a can. That's what Bud Light is. So the people who drink Bud Light already don't have much of an opinion as far as I'm concerned.
They're just there to get drunk.
Right, yeah, who cares? You don't care about your liver.
Fuck the
you don't care about
flavor.
your
Fuck
insides.
it.
You don't
Just
care.
give you the
You
main
at least buy
ingredient.
like a Florida
It's part,
Man.
but Bud Light is part of the domestic violence starter kit.
Yeah,
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, yeah.
Yep, you get a can of
Take
Bud
this
Light.
tank top.
You get a tank top with
Yep.
a
Wife beater, wife
mustard
beater.
stain on it, and you just put it on. You drink a few beers, and you punch whoever your loved one is. That's just the protocol for Bud Light. But Bud Light, who is most associated with, I mean, we don't even have to say it. We know who their target demographic is, right?
The Yakubians.
The
of course.
Yakubians, right? That's their target demographic. So when they went, and now, like I said, Dylan Mulvaney has only been a woman for a year, and he's smashing it. All the glass ceilings have been destroyed. He's kicking all the other women in the balls.
Is he winning all the women awards?
Yeah, he's women at everything. Woman of the year. He got a brand deal with Tampax. She got a brand deal with Tampax.
As he should. As he should.
Right.
No,
Clap
are
to
you
him.
serious?
Oh, hold
Are
on.
you
Let's
serious?
get right to it. Hold
Listen,
on.
if a man wants to
Oh
chop his
my
dick off and put on a dress to
gosh,
save the
man.
woman, he deserves all the
Man.
rewards women that
But
were.
let me tell you why I love this. I love this because it just proves that men are better at everything,
What
even
is
better at being
happening?
women.
Bro,
Men
so-
being women
What is
knock it out of the
happening,
park.
man?
Yeah,
Wow.
He got a
He got a
brand deal.
Tampax.
She
She
got a
got a-
brand deal with Tampax.
Wow.
So he's basically telling you, I put this on my anus. For no
I
reason.
guess you could.
Because
You
I
could.
don't bleed every month.
You could.
I
Listen,
don't mind.
I don't know what he
I don't
does.
mind. Look, Nike gave Colin Kaepernick $80 million for not doing shit. Who cares? Like at this point, it's just like it's bribery money. Like, look, people tend to pay
Like, we don't give
attention
a
to
fuck.
you.
We just need to sell this. You look pretty. Here you go.
It's not even to
Outta
sell
here.
it though. I don't think. Look, Bud Light isn't going to sell more beer. Tampax isn't going to sell more tampons. It's
Right.
just to be like, look, if you help push us this ridiculous agenda, we'll give you 10, 20, 30, 40. We'll pay you millions of dollars to be a spokesperson, whether it helps the product or
I
not.
completely agree with that. They just have a funnel of just like, here's take this, and whoever makes it more famous will give you more money.
Or makes it famous in the way that they want the fame to be.
Yeah,
Right?
because
Like,
their competitor has most likely donated to an LGBTQ company, most likely to an event, to something. So it's like it's just ridiculous
Doesn't
to
it-
ban one company.
Doesn't it seem like these people are taking plays out of Kanye's playbook, like that
Hey,
contrarian, like
don't
just
shame.
It's-
Ain't no Kanye shaming going on here,
No,
sir.
you
Did
can't
Dylan
say
no,
Mulvaney
that.
I'm
said-
saying it's
I'm
props.
fucking-
It's
you do.
props.
No,
like
but did
it's a
Dylan
consciousness
Mulvaney-
hacking, man.
Did Dylan Mulvaney say that the real Jews are trans?
That's probably. I don't know. That might get her canceled. That might be the
Oh
line
my
that
gosh.
they can't. But listen.
Unless she's Muslim, you never know.
Oh, that would be. Hey, listen. Don't. Hey. We
Dude,
getting some nice
hold
spin
on, wait a
going on
minute.
here.
Wait a minute. Kid, let's put that on the prediction board. Within 6 months, Dylan Mulvaney is going to come out as Muslim. I'm calling
I like
it now.
that. I like that. I'm putting my money with your money. I like that. I like.
I
it a
think
lot.
the simulation can do it. So we'll have a trans woman spokesperson who has a conversion to Islam, and she's not gonna be a really Americanized. Like, she's gonna be hardcore, like in the hijab, fully
right,
covered. Yep.
right. I love it. I see it. I already see it. But for Bud Light to go ahead and put this person on the can, it's like, my prediction was, what I said was, this is about the systematic dismantling of the cis white psyche. I think people are being destroyed mentally and emotionally by this so they can be replaced by a different demographic later. Because there is no logical reason to do a deal with Bud Light and a trans
No.
person who's setting Twitter
No.
on fire for being trans. Like, what does Bud Light have to gain monetarily by putting this person on a can? Really?
Bro, this is somebody who got hit to a Bud Light money, and
So
they
that
got a
means there's
picture.
something else is at play
That's
here.
it.
Something else is at play here. It's not about. Well, I do have some video of this person, Alyssa Heinerscheid. I'm not sure. I don't know where that comes from or what. I don't know.
It's German.
Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone. So
Vice President of Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch. It's
she's
all
a vice
German.
president. First of all, it's a woman. So yeah, there's that. Second of all, I'm gonna let her speak for herself. They just asked her what it was like, and coming into Bud Light as the VP, bringing her own life and her own mentality into this new position.
Yeah, I think number one, I'm a businesswoman. I had a really clear job to do when I took over Bud Light, and it was, this brand is in decline. It's been in decline for a really long time.
Okay. The brand is in decline. It's been in decline for a really long time.
Yep.
Its target demographic are cis white males, most likely of a lower economic status. Not all of them, but the main target. Most people, if you're going to go to the store and get a 30-pack of beer and it's Bud Light, I can't imagine that you drove a Tesla to that store to get that Bud Light.
Listen, it's either construction workers,
You're not diverse.
Mexicans. Well, they live in a trailer park.
They're not diversifying.
You can't
their
afford
portfolio.
the
No, not at
higher
all.
quality beer,
Yeah,
so you have to buy the cheap beer.
Nobody who understands the phrase "diversify your portfolio" drinks Bud Light. Not nobody.
No.
And if we do not attract
Dang.
young drinkers to come and drink this brand, there will be no future for Bud Light. So
That was an interesting statement for me. I know this is marketing and it's a beer company, so this is regular language. But she said if we do not attract young drinkers to come drink this beer, there won't be any future for it.
Because young teenagers is who buys all this poisoning bullshit.
So
and
you're
they
like,
get addicted to it.
fuck everybody else. Like Travis Tritt, who is a pretty popular. That laugh right there is bad disrespectful to Travis.
I don't even know who that is, but I want to know now.
No, but I know where you're going. I know where you're going
now.
with it, bro. It's such a good point. I know the
Travis
point he's
Tritt
about to make.
Is a very successful recording artist.
He is. He's an extremely
Yes.
successful
Yes.
recording artist.
I have no idea who this person is.
And he
but
has
I'm
been for a
interested
long
now.
time.
You're the owner of Blackness. You would not know who he
You
is.
shouldn't
We would
know.
not expect
I'm about
you
to
know
ruin
who
it
he
for
is.
you right now.
How
You might
dare
not want to listen. But he's also been regarded as one of the greatest voices in country singing. So he's not like some random guy, right? Travis Tritt's been around for a long time. He said that he was removing all of the Anheuser-Busch products from his hospitality tour rider. So basically, he wasn't paying for it anyway. He was just making other people buy it so he could drink it backstage. But he's removing it all from his tour rider. And just so everybody knows, Travis Tritt was upset about Dylan Mulvaney being featured on the can. This is Travis Tritt. This is Travis Tritt right here. That's Travis.
I have some thoughts. I have some thoughts, man. If I blame COVID, and I'll tell you why. So if you notice during COVID, all the brands all of a sudden had a heart, right? All these corporations were all their commercials. So what happened was they recognized
That's still
there's a new. They didn't know. They didn't know how easy it would be to market to pull on people's heartstrings. So now they're throwing all caution to the wind. They don't care now about what's actually going on. They know if it just connects on an emotional level to a large group of people, it doesn't even matter what they're saying. They don't care about trans people. They couldn't care less.
Right.
They don't care. They didn't care about Travis Tritt. It's just a way to, especially, and by the way, if you look, when was she hired? Guaranteed she was hired between 2020 and 2022.
Oh, most
Guaranteed.
Like a week
Most
ago.
definitely. Most definitely.
Yeah, this
Okay,
just
so
happened.
think about that.
Shout out to COVID
They
too,
know
because
that.
it was China's fault, and China's just taking over, man. Changing currencies, everything.
Allegedly.
I don't
and
know how
and
it's
and it's
how
like
that flipped around.
we're going to see more and more and more and more of this. You got to realize too that the average age of drinkers, as she put it, is no longer Travis Tritt's age. There's also an age thing, and I know my son's generation, trans people they don't have any. It's not even out of bounds. You know what I'm saying? They have no like qualms even slightly in their psychology about it, because it's kind of just always been around in the conversation. So having a trans woman be on a Bud Light can probably appeals to that younger drinker generation anyway. She don't give a shit about the old angry John Deere driving Travis Tritt. Who cares, right? Because that generation's dying. So it just
They're
shows
dying,
you
yeah.
the corporations have never cared. They've never cared about who's actually drinking it. They want to corral the consciousness around it. Where can they leverage all of that marketing money? That's all this is, right? I mean, would
It's
you guys
amazing.
agree with that?
It's
definitely what it
definitely
is.
a dangerous bet, in my opinion. Like you said, she's right. You do need younger people to come in and recognize the brand. You can't just count on, Travis throwing a cold beer out the window to his younger son and imprinting him on Bud Light. That may not happen. He may start drinking Four Locos instead. You never know.
Yeah, and then he goes to the doctor, and the doctor says you can't drink those because you've been drinking it
They
your
don't go
whole
to no
life.
doctors, bro.
Oh, they will when they're in the nursing home. Eventually, they have to speak to a
But
doctor.
so they
at
need
some
new
point.
drinkers. They need young drinkers.
So I
Maybe
had
the
this
young
I
sperm.
think
and it's like
I,
we
I,
need to
I
evolve
think
and
also
elevate.
too.
Go ahead.
I think it also marks the point where capitalism just became state propaganda.
Yep.
I think we've seen like a transition, and it is over that same time frame, like he mentioned, with COVID. Because when can you ever remember every major company being this politicized in their branding and their marketing? And you think about
Coca-Cola.
Quite the
What's his
opposite.
name?
They used to avoid it.
From
yes,
what's the rapper?
Because they were interested in selling as much as possible because they
Yep.
were businesses.
What's the
Businesses
rapper?
now.
Ludacris. Remember when they tried to cancel Ludacris and Coca-Cola, and then Ludacris is like, if you banning me, why are you not banning the other family, the guy who ate the bat? What's his name?
Oh,
Ozzy Osbourne.
Ozzy.
Ozzy Osbourne. That's what I'm saying.
Osbourne.
He
They've
didn't
been
eat the
doing
bat.
this.
He only bit the head off.
He bit the head off and spit
He
it
didn't
out.
eat it.
Whatever.
He didn't. Okay.
Yeah, we got to be clear. We got to be clear.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, they've been doing this. They don't give a fuck which way whatsoever, because they banned Ludacris because he says bitches and hoes, but like because somebody said they don't like Ludacris, but they kept the guy who bit off a bat.
Well, first he bit a
What's the
bat's head
difference?
off
Yeah,
like
who-
40
who
years
would-
ago. Second, there's no victim. Where's the victim? Is it
Well,
the
he's
bat?
supposed to be a
I mean-
devil worshiper and all that, but it gets deep.
Well, look,
What about
Go ahead.
Go
what
ahead.
about COVID
Sorry.
though? That bat might have had COVID. Was it
Well,
from
yeah.
a wet market?
he was saving us.
No, bats
He
have
predicted
to,
COVID.
No, a pig has to eat the bat, and then you eat the pig, and that's how you get COVID.
But this
That's
is the
what it
line that advertisers have always had to walk: is who are they outraging, right? Who's more outraged? That's how any media has had to respond, right? If you can't, that show is disrespectful, don't play it on Sunday. It's disrespectful to play that show on Sunday. What? Just don't watch it. Aren't you doing other stuff anyway?
No.
Like there's always been outrage groups, and businesses have typically managed that by kind of doing the calculus in their head to say, how much of these people actually buy our product in the long run? Is this going to be good for our bottom line, or is it going to be bad for our bottom line?
It's like Camel cigarettes. It's like how long till they really realized that the Camel was meant for kids, and y'all really started to care.
Right, and then advertising, right, because somebody complained and there was outrage. But before that, I'm sure there was a lot of Congress people who were heavily invested in whatever company, Philip Morris, whoever owns Camel or whatever, and it's like,
Yeah.
I really like the fact that kids are buying the fuck out of these cigarettes. Of course they
Well,
don't care.
also, man, I've worked in advertising. I've worked in advertising now for about 15. I don't anymore because I don't want to be involved with blood money. I've had to
You have
let
a
it go
soul.
because
You have a
it's.
soul.
But this is the thing. This decision that they made there was millions and millions and millions of dollars of research that went into this decision. This wasn't something that she just brought to the board. They did numbers on this. They have psychologists. They have high-level sociologists that work at that company. They hired huge brand studies to figure out how this was going to go. And it's just because culture's ready for it. And so they're seeing like, oh, what's the topic we can lean on that's going to get us press? Because all of this press is actually going to sell beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it still
more
helps
than
regardless.
Travis Tritt playing a banjo. You're going to have, guess what? Guess who the new drinkers of Bud Light will be? Will be liberal people, liberal, gay, and trans people who live, because it's about brand affiliation now. It's not about product, where in the 50s,
Right.
60s, 70s, it really was product. There was Better Business Bureau. It was really about the product. It's no longer about the product. It's about brand
Not at all.
affiliation and
Yep.
loyalty, because all they have to do is tap into that psychology. What makes this group of people feel seen? And do they have the buying power to make a difference in our bottom line? They would make one with Jeffrey Dahmer on the can if serial killers had a union. They don't give a fuck. They don't care.
I
That's a
completely
fact.
agree.
That's
I
a
completely
fact.
agree.
100%. So is this like a long game to give the LGBT community cirrhosis of the liver? It's a long game. It's like we can get them drinking Bud Light.
It's their turn. They're getting
they
married.
need it.
Hey, they're getting married now. So welcome to the death of your whole life. You know,
Right,
It's-
all that.
they're doing.
Get
You know,
married, ruin your liver. You're one of us now.
Right.
Yeah.
More domestic violence. We need y'all fucking each other up a little bit more.
America. Fuck yeah.
So,
That'll be the
some of
trans
you are
community.
boys, but you're really girls.
Well, I don't know if I want to go that far. You whatever you say.
That's who they're
about that.
marketing to now. That's
You
the
know
end of
who
the
is
song
pissed?
now.
You know who is pissed? Is Kid Rock. Kid Rock is angry.
Yeah, fuck Kid Rock. I've
How
been saying fuck
pissed
Kid
is
Rock
he?
since the beginning, bro. I don't give a
I've been
fuck
waiting to
about
hear.
him.
I've
I don't give a
I've
fuck
been waiting
about
to
him.
hear from Kid Rock, man. My life has been desolate without
Well,
hearing
I
from
got
Kid
you,
Rock.
bro.
What's he talking about?
I got you. Check him out. Check him out.
Grandpa's feeling a little frisky today. Let me say something to all you and be as clear and concise as possible.
America.
Fuck yeah, bro.
Fuck
Break
yeah.
women and take them to the vineyard.
Bud Light, fuck Anheuser-Busch. Have a terrific day.
Fuck Bud
As-
Light.
as
What a
crew,
trip, y'all.
record
Are y'all
label.
paying- Are y'all paying attention, man? This is the why. Like who would have thought Kid Rock would say "fuck Anheuser-Busch"? He's probably got a Budweiser tattoo on his taint,
He
man.
Most
might.
likely.
He might.
Most
Like,
likely,
bro.
I wouldn't be surprised.
This is crazy. This is crazy. This is like, yo, the world that you thought you knew doesn't exist anymore.
But that's
It just
why it
doesn't
feels.
exist.
But that's why it feels like coordinated division. Because I
Right.
think what you touched on
Absolutely.
is there was a time where it was specifically about who's going to be more outraged. Is it like the thing that Doobie brought up with Ludacris? It wasn't that they were like, we have a principled stance on whether we like Ludacris or not. Obviously, you didn't have a problem with the lyrics. You knew who he was when you signed him on. What you thought was you'd have less backlash and more sales as a result of bringing him in, right? You had to have that in your plan and figuring out. But now, listen, you got way more expertise than me. So I believe you when you say they talked to psychiatrists, they had millions of dollars in market research. They didn't just come and
Sound
make
like
this decision. They didn't make this decision hastily. I think that's true to a degree, but I think what there is now
It's a money
is-
laundering scheme. They just wing it.
I think what there is there's an authoritarian from top to bottom, very much like communist China. That's why they say we've probably already been taken over. Like just like we touched on earlier, where they had state branded religions.
Yeah.
Like this is acceptable. This is in line with the state's values. Therefore, we'll give you a version of it, but we need to be able to codify it and monitor it and make sure it's in line with the agenda that we are setting up. So all of the institutions from America, you talk about the schools, governing bodies, judicial system, whatever, everything is pushing this thing, which doesn't seem like it's a huge thing. Like, is there really that many people where we got to make third bathrooms? Is this many people really want to cut their tits off and cut their dicks off? Is this really a widespread thing? Because I just watched Silence of the Lambs the other day. They talk about all that shit, and that was like in the 90s. Yeah, gender reassignment surgery. And this isn't anything new, but all of a sudden it's become like this hot button. You're either
It's
to the
what
left
it's
or
what
the
you
right
use
on
to
an
point at
issue.
the moon while you're flicking it off. They're just throwing this shit into like because they know people are gonna argue and complain about it
Well,
instead of just
Right,
like
but the question is
also-
why, and why are we advertising around it, and why are we paying people tens of millions of dollars to be spokespeople and influencers for it, even if it means it's bad for the product and it's not going to sell?
Right.
Like Colin Kaepernick was paid $80 million, not because he could throw a football well or he was ever going to get become a Super Bowl champion or whatnot. That wasn't the point. It was, I'm upholding the narrative that black people have it terrible in America and there's a problem with violence. We're not going to have a conversation about really statistically, is there really police brutality? We're not getting into the nuance or the reality. It doesn't matter. What matters is, do you side with the story or not? If you don't believe the narrative and the story, well, you're not one of us. That was divisive.
Totally.
People got on TV, started burning their shoes like, fuck Nike, even though you already paid for them, which is fucking retarded, but I'm going to
Yeah.
burn them. So there was this outrage about it. And I don't know whether Nike did worse or bad, but I don't think it even mattered. I don't even think it was Nike making the decision whether this is going to be good or bad for the brand, but it was on point and in service of, because I don't know where it's coming from. I'm just speculating. But there is absolutely an agenda coming from the government, coming from social media, to make these things issues that we're focused on and dividing about. Nobody really gives a fuck about Bud Light.
you know these
Nobody
surveys
really
that you
Well,
walk past through at the mall.
People
This-
drink Natty
this is
Ice.
it.
If you know your demographics,
thing-
you go and grab Natty Ice. Bud Light is actually, Taco Bell is Natty Ice. Chipotle is Bud Light. Bud Light is a step up. Go ahead, I interjected. I'm sorry.
Totally, but it's also, and I'm seeing the brother going through all this amazing content, so I don't want to stay stuck too long. But I what it is, man, what I'm seeing, especially, it became very crystal clear when your boy shot the Bud Light cans with his AK-47, whatever that was, M5, is that it's what it is a loud statement, because it's white cis men aren't in control anymore. That's
Right.
really what this is saying. It's
Yep.
like, you don't have the power, and you know why? Because they don't. Because our culture is evolving. Even just white people in general are every year are less. White people will be the minority soon if they aren't
Right, but
already
how
like
much
approaching
power
those
really-
numbers.
But how much power really does a fucking forklift
It's-
operator with a handlebar mustache
No, but
have
it's
when he
it's
comes
not-
home to drink
it's-
Bud
it's-
Light? Yeah.
It's the idea of white power. It's not you're getting into like the reality. They're not dealing in individuation. They're dealing in perception. Like, all of advertising is all perception, because narrative is what drives it, not actual people. So if you can get people to buy into a story, it doesn't really matter
exactly
who they
what it
are
is.
as an individual. They're bought into the story, right? So the story is that trans people, and if you talk to black people, you talk to even women, like, trans people are not, people don't empathize as much with them as you think they will. And it's like, they're taking over women's rights. Black people are like, wait a minute, how do they have so much power already? We've been fighting this inequality thing for 100 and some odd years. How are they getting all like they?
you busy
Chappelle
marching
talked
Because
about
it's
yeah,
what
that.
the
sucking they
system
dicks.
is behind. That's
Exactly.
my point. The reason
Yeah.
the reason
That's what
black
I'm saying.
people didn't get as
I'm
much
agreeing.
traction
I'm
is
agreeing.
because the system and the agenda wasn't like, you know what, we really do need to help black people. Like, no, we're gonna make you as subjected and as miserable as we want all of humanity to be. We're
Well,
not
think
really.
about it though.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing with you, brother. And what I'm saying is that the trans movement doesn't have the infrastructure that the civil rights NAACP does. So they don't want to give that thing power because it can actually do something. The trans movement doesn't have an infrastructure to make any kind of change. So it's a safer bet to leverage that in culture because they can still control it from top down. If they were to give black people and people who have actually been building infrastructure with governmental policies and stuff that very smart black people have been doing for a really long time, that's a less bet for the people in power, because they could topple that, you know. And if you look, like, have y'all been paying attention to what's going on in France? Like, people hate on the French, but like, yo, you know what they're doing? They're going to the BlackRock headquarters and rioting. That's what time it is. Don't burn down your local fucking mart by your house thinking you're going to enact change. That's going right in the hands. So it's like, that's what I mean. It's a balance of power. Trans people aren't out marching. They don't have whole governmental bodies set up. So it's a 3-card monte. It's like, we can utilize the outrage of these people and still maintain the polarity, the power. If they actually gave groups that have been working for real in the trenches this level of power, that would be dangerous for the status quo. So, does that make sense?
So
it's easier. It's
what's
easier.
What's happening is they know that if you give an adult the keys to the car, he's going to drive off into the sunset of freedom. But if you give the keys to the car to a child, he's just going to crash it in a ditch, and then you can just go pick the car back up.
Bong. Yes,
that's what
that
it is.
Right there.
You give it to a movement that's in its infancy. They crash it. They start talking about lowering the age of consent and fucking all this. They're like, you know what? Get them out of here. Get them out of here. Take these motherfuckers off of here. And then you back to square one without ever having actually done anything. Now, it's a smart plan. It's a smart plan because they can afford to fix the car. But if you drive off in it, they fucked. So at least, you know.
And black people, we're all ready to jet. You know, all of us who grew up on hip hop music, they give reparations. Black people are going to move. You know, I'm out of here. I'm not staying in America. I'm already looking at moving. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm out. That, you know, when with trans folks, like you said, it's in its infancy. Yeah, totally, man. That's what I'm saying.
So as all this was happening, after I watched Kid Rock shoot up the cans, which was disheartening to say the least, I started looking at some of his music and listening to some of. Now I know we don't want to get no copyright strikes or nothing like that. This is
go to his lyrics.
This is totally an analysis of some Kid Rock music. I'm going to play it in small increments so we don't set off no filters or nothing like that. But this is very, very interesting considering this is where he jumped off at, and we just saw where he landed. Just listen to a little bit of this.
And this is for the questions that don't have any answers. The midnight glancers and the topless dancers. The gander freaks, cars packed with speakers. The G's with the 40s and the chicks with beepers.
All right, so he's
to this day I
still
don't understand how he got famous.
He's talking because he's a white guy.
Yep.
He's a white guy. He's having a great time. People like to see it. It's partying, you know, Stone Cold Steve Austin energy. So he's talking about the chicks with beepers, the topless dancers. He's talking about inclusivity in this song. That's pretty much. I didn't know that because I never really listened to the song.
Look at the background. Look at the background. Where's he at?
He is, right? He's talking about inclusivity. Let's get back into it.
The northern lights in the southern comfort, and it don't even matter if your veins are punctured.
The northern lights in the southern comfort. It don't even matter if your veins are punctured. So we taking drug addicts, everybody. Come on, everybody. If you're a heroin addict, you too. You hop in.
All the crackheads.
Did you see that?
All the crackheads.
All the crackheads.
And who did he zoom in on when he said all the crackheads?
I didn't notice.
Oh man, Jesus.
I'm just want to know whether there's a kid around crackheads, but keep going.
Wait, okay, let's keep going. Yeah. So we see the crackhead.
And the kid.
All the crackheads, the critics, the cynics, and all my heroes at the methadone clinics.
All my heroes at the methadone clinics. Those are your heroes.
I don't think that's a kid. That's a midget,
like
isn't it? I think it's Vern Troyer.
I think that's a kid.
Was that a little person?
I think keep going back.
All the crackheads, the critics, the cynics, and all my heroes.
If it's a little person, then he got him.
All you bastards at the IRS, for the crooked cops and the cluttered desks, for the shots of Jack and the caps of meth, half pints of love and the fists of stress.
Yep, that's a kid.
Bro.
That's a kid. Yeah, that's a kid.
He's talking about everybody is inclusive.
All the people Jesus hang out with.
Can I also just say, I would rather listen to Travis Tritt than this. This is terrible.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you know, terrible is.
But he hits a demographic. This is the subculture
spectrum
of redneckism who sits in front of certain restaurants and blasts his music with their trucks, and white women who wear short jean shorts. This is the demographic.
There's people who react to the opening notes of this song the way we react to hearing some old Mos Def. The new moon rose high in the crown of the metropolis. People feel the same way about this as we do about those other songs.
Yeah,
And
it's there.
And those people drink Bud Light. I guarantee.
Yes.
They absolutely drink Bud Light.
That's what Kid Walk told us. He said, for all these years, I've been drinking Bud Light.
Kid
Not
Rock,
today.
Listen,
Not today.
I just thought it was interesting how his inclusivity stops at trans people. If you got heroes at the methadone clinic, why can't a trans?
Those
woman
people
be...
been trans. Those were the first trans.
Like,
That's all I have to say.
So you take people who intravenously take heroin. You take people who are at the methadone clinic. You take the criminals, the crackheads, the drug dealers.
Put on a wig.
Everybody.
I stopped there.
But
Right
if you're a dude who thinks you're a chick, that's where I draw the line. Just like Dylan Mulvaney, we were just looking at this, also has a deal with Nike right now. Also has a deal with Nike that a deal that apparently Caitlyn Jenner is not happy about.
Was this gonna sell more shoes?
Probably.
It's
the same thing. Who was Trump's guy for security? And he was like, I can't be. He was part of the KKK, but like he stopped because they smoked weed. It's the same thing.
Right. You just choose your outrage very carefully. Like, are trans people such a large demographic with a lot of money that they're going to run out and just buy the store out of Nikes right now? Is that going to replace the people?
No.
Is something else going on? It's not about selling
Right.
product.
It's the authoritarian culture from wherever that's coming from, dictating that this is the values. And you talked about riding in front of BlackRock. I wouldn't be shocked if BlackRock had more of a say that this should be done. Like, hey,
right.
let's
they're
get
part
Dolan.
of this. Yes.
Yeah, I just thought that was interesting.
They're part of this, man.
I thought that was
They're
really,
part
really
of this.
interesting,
Absolutely.
Man. But I want to hear a little bit more from Alyssa, just a little bit more, and we can wrap that up.
Your job.
Alyssa Heinrich.
When I took over Bud Light. And it was, this brand is in decline. It's been in decline for a really long time. And if we do not attract young drinkers to come and drink this brand, there will be no future for Bud Light. So I had this super clear mandate. It's like we need to evolve and elevate this incredibly iconic brand.
Elevate this incredibly iconic brand. She should get a raise just for being able to formulate that sentence about a shit beer.
She looks malnourished as fuck, but she definitely like wasted nights to try to figure out what's going on. What can I do to fix this?
She's living off Bud Light, bro. She gets half her paycheck in cases of Bud.
Figure it out.
And what I brought to that was a belief in, okay, what does evolve and elevate mean? It means inclusivity. It means shifting the tone.
Yeah,
that's why I told the kid to suck my tongue.
We had to shift the tone. It wasn't nearly enough tongue sucking in this operation.
It means having a campaign that's truly inclusive and feels lighter and brighter and different and appeals to women and to men. Mm-hmm. And representation is at sort of the heart of evolution. You've got to see people who reflect you in the work. And we had this hangover. I mean, Bud Light had been kind of a brand of fratty, kind of out of touch humor. And it was really important that we had another approach. So long story short, Super Bowl spot, fast forward, I cast an incredible female choreographer who just brought incredibly positive, amazing energy to the spot.
There's always a possibility that she's just trying to implode the company.
Yeah.
She's
and also, she's
never know.
Right. She might just be
she's
trying
not
to collapse
wrong,
it.
right?
No, she's not wrong,
man.
but nothing
I
that
mean,
she said.
yeah,
but they're all full of shit because they just want kids to drink this shit to get drunk and get fucked up and continue this
I think advertising is stupid anyway. It's the mark of a decadent society. If people are living in some sort of harmony with the planet and with each other, you don't got to convince them about what they need. It's a stupid fucking practice. Hey, I need eggs. Do you have eggs? Okay,
No,
I have
got a
broccoli.
chicken and
No, you need
broccoli.
the eggs from McDonald's. Fuck those eggs.
No,
you
but
know,
this
we've traveled pretty far from that, though. You know, I agree with you, but that's part of what all the plant medicine and healing is about, is to return to the more hunter-gatherer communal thing. But we've gotten very far from that. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but this is where it's taking
connections
us.
to animals. Yes, for sure.
Where, like you said,
Absolutely.
The product could be shit. The product doesn't have to solve a problem. The product could be
Not at all.
the product could not only not be helpful to your life, the product could actually be detrimental and be killing you, and
Like
you're still
Bud
gonna
Light.
be like, I don't
Bud
know, I
Light.
need it. Look, we should just merge this whole ad campaign and just go to that Dalai Lama shit, and right between the tongue and the little kid, just put a can of Bud Light. Just help them to advertise it. Maybe
Right.
put a wig on the Dalai Lama. Fuck it, who cares? Inclusivity.
There you go.
It's
Trans,
include
It's called
trans
tongue.
Dalai Lama.
It's called tongue light.
Hey, I like it. Go.
Oh gosh, it would be an improvement. Now, like I said, she was right with what she said, but none of it makes any sense when you factor in the decision.
But do you
that she
believe
made.
any of it?
Because
No, no,
she
no.
doesn't drink Bud Light
No, what
herself.
she said was correct. What she said was sound and correct. We needed to, get rid of the out of touch humor. We needed to bring in like that was a great idea. I think anybody who was trying to save any company right now in 2023, you got 100-year-old company and you bring in a new person to save it, they're gonna be like, yeah, we need to get hip, we need to get cool. Like that's the same pitch they would.
Yeah,
give
they're always
anybody,
going to do that.
right?
It's like Duff Man.
But when you see the choice that she made, I got an idea. Let's put a trans woman on the can. You're like, what? What? Could we?
All the
start
kids
with
like
just-
it. All the
Could we
kids
just
like
start
it.
with putting a mixed woman in a
Think-
commercial?
Think about this though. Like that's why I brought up Ye earlier, because really the whole way to get, because it's all about attention. This is an arms race for eyeballs. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even. What is the most controversial, disruptive thing we can do to get press? Because it's really hard to get people's attentions right now because people have siloed off. Believe it or not, a lot less people. We're on Rumble right now. There's so many more people. Who knew Russell Brand would have 7 million eyeballs on him? Russell Brand? What? He's all of us. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to get people's attention. So how do you do that? It doesn't really matter if it's positive or correct or even makes sense, because that's what Ye does. Ye will put on a shirt that he knows is going to upset people in a certain kind of way because he's trying to get their attention. You know what I'm saying? And that's all they're doing. This has nothing to do with beer. It has nothing to do with anything except pissing people off. Kid Rock shooting a Bud Light, a brilliant job. That's
That's
the
free
outcome
commercial
of your
for Bud Light. I'm
campaign.
pretty sure they doubled
That's
it
what
for
I'm
Bud Light
saying.
Yeah,
sales.
no matter what.
What
they're
an
gonna get money.
incredible,
Yeah.
think about that. And that's what, though, I guarantee you, that's what the research showed them. This is the most effective thing we can do to get people to say the words Bud Light, because that's all they care about. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. It's not about culture, none of that. And they're doing it. That's brilliant. You have to almost tip your hat to be like, they're playing it because they know it's a game. They know it's a simulation. These people know what they're doing. How do you do it? You put a trans lady on literally the most redneck beer on the planet. It's
Right.
hilarious.
Hold that, son.
There's
Hold
no product
my-
on the planet.
Hold my beer. Hold my beer.
Hold my beer.
Can
This is-
any
yeah.
of you think? Can any of you think of a product that you use now that you would stop using because of how they advertised it? I can't think of a single fucking product I would give a fuck about.
I
I'm waiting
haven't
for-
seen
I'm
a
waiting for the bleach
commercial
ban.
in years.
That's what I'm waiting for.
I
when
haven't
they,
watched
when they
the
boycott
commercial.
bleach.
I haven't watched the commercial.
Yeah,
I haven't seen a commercial. When was the last time y'all saw a commercial?
I do see commercials.
I don't watch
because-
commercials only if it's from YouTube, and they've been getting political for me lately. I don't even see half this stuff anymore these days.
I do see commercials because there's a few apps on Roku that I don't pay for. So when I want to watch movies, I got to listen to commercials. But it's usually they play the same commercials over and over. One of them's
Yeah.
But that's
One of them's my
That's
favorite.
But those are
proving
all.
my
But
point,
those
by the way.
commercials are they know what you like and they know what you want to see.
Not
So you're
necessarily.
never
Let me
gonna
tell
see
you what my favorite.
if it's your
commercial is.
kids and stuff on your phone or you on your phone. It's already figured out what type of stuff that
No, I'm
they're gonna
watching it
show
on the
you.
Roku.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
the commercial that I see more often than anything else is AIDS medicine. It's a trans woman at the head of the commercial talking about how to manage HIV and AIDS. And the way they show to me, the pitch to me seems to be like, if you are attracted to this person, you might already have AIDS. So here is some medicine. Like, that's what it feels like. I could be wrong, but that's what it feels like they're saying in the commercial. And I laugh about it every time we come on. It's like, are these the people you hang out with? Then you probably have AIDS. Call this number and get some medicine.
You gotta
It's
love
ridiculous.
AIDS commercials because they still want to blame homosexuals because like
They
y'all
do.
is the reason.
They do. They working
Y'all
hard
the
to tell
reason.
us that everybody can get it. It's not it doesn't discriminate. But your
But deep
commercials
down
full of gay
inside,
guys and trans
No,
women.
the deep down
Are you
inside, this is
seeing?
where
Are
it
you?
started.
Are you seeing the pattern though? Look at how those two things kind of cross
yeah,
over.
yeah,
You know,
the
a trans
dovetail.
person on a. But also to my point though, right? If advertising doesn't really work anymore in the way that it had, how do you get people to see your
It
brand?
doesn't work for
You
us.
create a
That doesn't mean it's
cultural.
not working for the
You
kids.
what I mean? I don't. Yeah, but how do you create a cultural disruption when social media has kind of disjointed? Everybody's off in their own silos. You just disrupt the hypnosis and do something wild. And that's what I mean by Kanye's playbook. They're definitely looking at it like that. They don't
Just
care
set shit on fire.
about anything else.
Just set shit
Exactly.
on fire.
And it's
let
working.
the chips
It's
fall where they
working.
may. Yeah, because all the people
It's
who
working.
would never talk about, they would never say a positive word about Bud Light. They would never be like, hey, I had a Bud Light with my friends tonight. Now their Twitter timeline is filled with Bud Light. Whether it's hate, the
Or
algorithms don't
negative.
know the difference. Yeah, negative or positive.
It
The
don't matter
algorithms
if
don't
it's
know the
positive.
difference.
We're talking about it.
It's just
I
Bud Light.
haven't thought about Bud Light, and I don't remember the last time I even thought about Bud Light. It's got to have been a decade
you're not
since
part of
I've
that
even thought about
demographic.
it.
Yeah,
You're not-
exactly. Well, yeah,
But
that's
not,
true, yeah.
I don't hang out with niggas after 9, sir. So there's a lot of commercials I'm not going to be seeing.
Yeah, there's a lot of products that's just not marketed directly to me. But look,
I had
hey,
no clue what malt liquor was until I had to hang around people. I'm like, oh, okay, so now I understand malt liquor.
now I get it. Now I think they're doing a brilliant job. I think it's hilarious, and I think people are gonna get over it. You know, whether they decide to stop buying.
Because
Bud
people
Light,
don't really care.
Now they're gonna stop buying Nike because a trans woman is wearing a sports bra. Because the child slavery was not enough. Let's be honest. Like I know you can chain kids to a machine and force them to make your sneakers. That's bad. But what's really bad is putting a dude with a penis in a sports bra. That's where I draw the line. I ain't taking no more shit from Nike.
Put
And
those kids to
seems-
work.
Yeah, let the kids keep working. Just get this dude out of my
Dude.
face. Like, it's
That's
hilarious.
amazing. That's such a great statement, man. That's
love it.
incredible. That's
I love it.
absolutely right.
They're like, this
That
is
the
it.
outrage is over that.
This
Yeah.
is it. And they've been accused in court doing child slavery for decades. But now is where I draw the line. That black guy kneeling and this trans person in front of me, that's it. Nike's over. It's a wrap for you. But
Yeah. I've given up on being outraged of anything that's put in front of me these days. I've given up on that whole idea.
nothing
It's just
can
like,
outrage me.
let's wait a few years and see what happens.
That's what I'm saying. Like we're basically in the position of just being watchers. I think there's a certain point where you can't be mesmerized or hypnotized by it.
Because
I do think the younger you are, the more susceptible you are to it. But I think if you're operating on a certain frequency and you're of a certain mindset or age, it really, like, that's why I asked the question, like, is there anything that you really use as an integral part of your day-to-day life that you would just say, fuck it? Because if there's anything you would throw away like that, you never needed it. And that's true about Bud Light. Like, yeah, your kidneys, your liver, your heart,
Should've
everything
been through
would
that away.
appreciate. Yeah, like if you took that away from your life, I would venture to say your life would improve tremendously. You'd have more money in your pocket
Oh
and
my
you'd be
God.
healthier.
Then you really would
if
be
you
a
stop
Kid Rock.
drinking Bud Light. And
Throw
what
away
I
the
think
Bud
is
Light.
what I like about this is I think what everyone will find is there's a whole bunch of shit that we pay money and we make other people rich by giving them money for shit that we really don't need. And if we think about it long enough and we're leading fulfilled lives, we really don't even want. And that's why advertising exists. You've got money. I've got some worthless shit that you really don't need. I got to figure out a way to make you want it.
Right. And for a long time, that's just been put a sexy chick next to it. Whatever it is, whether it's a burger, a beer, a car, no matter what it is, if you put a woman in a bikini next to it, you can sell it to the major demographic
Or a
of
celebrity.
the country. Or a celebrity, you can sell it. So now you got some other issues. I think it's brilliant. I think it's hilarious. I think wherever this is going is probably going to end up in a better place for humans. We're melting shit away, right? Now we don't have to, nobody has to idolize the Dalai Lama anymore because he's telling kids to suck his tongue. Nobody has to falsely idolize specific brands of beer. You can drink whatever you want. Guess what? You'll still get drunk. The official recipe for Bud Light is drink 3 Heinekens and then piss in a cup. And then what's in the cup will be Bud Light. I guarantee it. Guarantee it.
I really think
What-
it's just like rice, chemicals, and water. and it tastes like
What's
water.
hilarious
yeah.
too, though,
It's
is
the
that
cheapest
we're having
products
this,
put together. They still been selling it for years.
They love it.
we're having a discussion about trans rather than liver disease. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like,
yeah, right,
you gotta
right.
give them. You gotta give
It has
them
nothing to
props.
do with
you
your
gotta
product, yeah.
understand.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
brilliant.
you
It
gotta
is.
understand it. It's brilliant. It's a magic. You gotta appreciate it. It's like seeing David Blaine do a really ill trick, and you're like, wow, like that's incredible. You know, like in some ways, I can't even be mad at him because the way we were taught that the third dimension worked and life on Earth worked was that, you know, get what you can while you can because it doesn't last, and everything will be over when you die. Why not? Why not? Like, pull people away from the truth and make money while you're doing it. I understand. I could never do it. I couldn't live with myself, the karma and all that. But congratulations. We're not discussing the actual problem. What do you know? What do you know?
Super tricky. Go for it. I love it. I think the turbulence will put us exactly where we need to be. I'm with it. I get to laugh at this shit every so often because I don't internalize it. I observe, but I don't absorb. I ain't mad about none of this shit. You know, so it's entertaining to say the least. So I'm glad we get to farm the algorithm with some of this conversation. Hopefully, this will be some of the shit that helps us extract the revenue from YouTube and the mighty overlords over there. But I will say, I'll give them props. They haven't sent us a copyright strike for our educational analysis of labia shaving and bikini waxing. So I got to give them some props. I feel like we was trolling them a little bit, and they haven't bothered us. So.
Well, yeah, but how do you feel about being a white supremacist now?
Honestly,
Now that you're on Rumble.
Honestly, I don't feel much different, which leads me to believe that I internalized white supremacy a long time ago. Maybe it has something to do with self-hate or me disconnecting from the concept of blackness, which I've done several times. We're going to dig into that, too. I totally reject the concept of
Because when you go
blackness.
to the ultimate dark hole of black identity, you start, as you get older as a black man, you're like, what are these Negroes fighting for?
Exactly.
What's going on here?
Exactly.
What's going on
I'm done
here?
with it. I've totally... Doobie is still the owner, and we respect his ownership of blackness, and I respect how he's sailing the ship over there. But I've personally... disconnected from the entirety of the idea of blackness because it doesn't encompass anything, to me, in my opinion, it doesn't encompass anything that's truly that what we need.
It's like a butch lesbian.
Progress.
It's like they have the worst quality of men.
It's just a concept.
But
it's a concept that you could
lesbian.
paste on anything. You could replace black with the ideas that people, the lofty ideas that people say about blackness. You could put any other race in front of that and it'll sound just as silly. You could be like, Indians are the best dancers in the world. That's part of being Indian, is being a good dancer. That's stupid. It's stupid. And anything else that you want to claim, that there's either a reason for it or you just made it up. So I've completely dropped it, and I feel a lot lighter. Honestly, I love it. I love where this is going. There's only going to be more evolution, and it's going to get us exactly where we need to be. I completely trust it. We're the greatest think tank ever assembled. No debate. I'm not taking any debates, but if somebody wants to debate, we do have people on the team who will mix it up with you. But me,
I just want to know who really cares. You can come talk to me. You really care about this shit? Okay, let's go. Let's talk.
I'm here. It's an absolutely
I'll
beautiful
listen.
thing.
I'm here. I'll listen to it.
But yeah, I definitely appreciate you, brothers, for making time for this rant on the absurdity of the simulation. I think we figured some things out, as we usually do. I've seen some new light. Like you said, everything is melting away. Shit's getting ripped down. We're getting down to the foundational coats of paint on this motherfucker. There's been a lot of posters and new coats of paint. We got to scrape all that shit off and get down to what's really going on. And I think that's the work that we've been doing here. So I definitely appreciate everybody. And we're going to wrap this lovely evening up. I got to find some grub. I got to sit back and watch something meaningless so I can recalibrate my brain.
Mandalorian.
I love Mandalorian. Don't
you get lost in that.
Yeah, I definitely love that. That's not meaningless though. The Mandalorian gave us a phrase for our compendium, which is "This is the way," that I'm never gonna abandon because I love it. I love the Mandalorian.
Space Cowboys is the best combination.
Yeah, people hating on that too. They mad. They like, "What's up with the little baby and Lizzo and shit?" I'm like, "Yeah, shut up. Just watch it or don't. Who cares?" But I don't fuck with the rest of the Star Wars stuff right now.
So that was Lizzo. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
Lizzo and Jack Black, bro.
Like,
I was happy. Jack Black's the homie, son.
Yeah, it's always fun seeing Jack Black in something like dope artsy.
Yeah, Jack Black.
He's just Jack Black. He's not playing any other character. He's just Jack Black.
Bro. I love him. But definitely, man, I appreciate y'all. And I hope everybody enjoys the rest of the evening. And I'm sure we'll be linking up again to do the Lord's work soon. Y'all brothers, take
Zola.
it easy, man.
Blessings. I'm hyped for y'all. I'm glad to see y'all over on Rumble. I think it was a good move, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
think the little shorter content for you, Coob, I think it's gonna work out, man. I can see y'all growing here. So thanks for having me on for sure.
Absolutely,
Love you,
brother.
brothers.
We appreciate you, man. Love. We'll talk soon.
Peace,
Always a
peace.
pleasure, brother. Peace.
Metaphysics is going to have to be the quote-unquote religion of tomorrow. If it isn't, you're fucked. Totally and absolutely.